Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joey's Retro Newscast. And I do this weekly. Every Friday, this episode drops for a new weekly newscast. We talk all about the retro gaming news, retro handheld news, everything to do with that. And this is all over YouTube. You also have it on podcast apps, wherever you want to get it. I have a pretty good show packed for you today, but AYN Odin 3 users or pre-order people should check out the newscast Q&A question because there is something there that is relevant to the Odin 3 and the Snapdragon 8 Elite processors. So if you're one of those people, make sure you stay for the newscast question because it's something there that you should know about. Otherwise, let's get into the news. Retro Achievements are finally coming for Nintendo Wii games. Yep, they did GameCube a few months ago, and now in March of 2026, they will come to Wii games as well. Now, currently, this is PC only. They are still working on Android for GameCube Retro Achievements, so Wii is going to be behind that whenever they get it done. So my question is, what games are you all excited to play with Retro Achievements on Wii? And I had to take a look at the list because, again, I didn't own a Wii, but I have played some games over the years. And for me, Arc Rise Fantasia is a game that I want to play. I don't know why it's on my list. I think it's an RPG of some sort, and I have heard good things. So that is one. Last Story is another one. I have played a little bit of it, but I didn't jump in too far. I know a lot of people like that, so I'll have to try that as well. Fire Emblem, Radiant Dawn, of course. I have played that before and beaten it, so I want to play that and replay it with Retro Achievements. Donkey Kong Country Returns. I love Donkey Kong, and Country Returns is really good. New Super Mario Brothers, of course, 2D Mario or 3D Mario, whatever you want to call it. Mario. We play Mario. There's that. And then obviously the Mario Galaxy games, 1 and 2, would be on my list. I never actually beat either of those games that I can remember. Actually, yeah, I never had a Wii, so I could not have beaten those games. Yeah, those games are on my list. I know it's blasphemy to have never beaten Mario Galaxy 1 or 2, but I will do it when Wii Retro Achievements come. I hope that they allow the Revolution patches that allow the classic controller layout. Otherwise, I have a full setup guide on how to set up Dolphin, and it works for Mario Galaxy, but it's easier to have it set up properly out of the box. But I guess the question is, what Wii games are you excited for, and do you have any recommendations? I might as well start calling my local GameStop to get everything ready and up and running in time for March so I can get all of my games going. But I'm curious. Let me know what is on your list for Wii games for Retro Achievements. Now, inevitably, whenever I mention Retro Achievements in any sort of video, I always get some sort of comment that's like, oh my god, you are the worst person ever. How can you like Retro Achievements? I don't need Retro Achievements to play my video games. All that sort of thing. Look, if that's going to be you, don't even bother with the comment. But if you are going to do the comment, thank you for that. That is engagement, so I appreciate it. But nobody cares what you think. People like Retro Achievements. People don't like Retro Achievements. It doesn't matter. But you don't have to pretend to go all, oh my god, how can you even like Retro Achievements? Nobody cares. Anyways, March 2026 for Wii. Now I just need 3DS. Come on, 3DS. Dolphin version 2509 is now out, and we have a progress report. Now, I actually read through this one, and one of the most interesting changes is to dual core. Now, for those unfamiliar with Dolphin, dual core has been enabled by default on all games for years. But you also know that it can be super unstable because you have probably seen crashes sometimes where it tells you to turn off dual core to get better stability. Now, an example of this in the opposite is F-Zero GX. F-Zero GX has dual core disabled by default. You have to enable it to get actual good playable frame rates on a lot of devices. But once you do that, the game starts to crash a lot more. So it is a trade-off. You either get worse performance or you get better performance and crashing. So it's one or the other. Now, on PC, we have long since surpassed power requirements for Dolphin. And so the Dolphin developers have basically decided that we don't need dual core enabled by default anymore because the majority of PCs that are using Dolphin have long since surpassed that. So what they are doing is turning off Dolphin dual core by default for all games. Now, if you want to turn it back on, you can do it on a per game basis or for everything. But what this will do is lower back some of the frame rate or power that previously you needed. So it'll cost more power to run the game, but you will get a better experience. And given the power needed, it's not like you're going to go from 60 to 40 frame rate. It's just you're not going to get 100 frame rate to 60. You know what I mean? Because we were already overshooting Dolphin for PC in a lot of cases. So good change, I think, given what they are talking about here and the improvements they've made. And I'm interested in checking it out. The popular Nintendo Switch emulator Eden is now on the Google Play Store, proving that we once again have never learned a single thing in the last 2 years of Switch emulator drama. Look, Nintendo knows about Eden. We can't sit here and say that Nintendo doesn't know who Eden is, or Sudachi, or Citron. They know of those emulators. Don't be stupid. They know exactly who those emulators are. And for whatever reason, they have not been targeted yet. Whatever reason, things take time. It doesn't matter. Going to Google Play Store and just putting a bigger target on your back is something that doesn't make sense to me. Look, if somebody wants to do Nintendo Switch emulation, getting the GitHub link and installing the APK is the easiest part of that whole scenario. Given everything else you have to do with installing drivers and finding the games, installing the games, all of that, the easiest part of that equation is finding the APK or the emulator, which is right on their GitHub. Now, putting this on the Google Play Store, all that does is make it easier for, I don't even know, the lowest common denominator to enter, but also to somehow market your device or your emulator to people that you don't need to be doing that to. Like Nintendo, you don't need to be drawing more attention to yourself, because there is probably a world where even Nintendo is like, you know what? Just they're off on their own, doing their own thing. They're not doing a Patreon. They're not doing any of that sort of thing. Leave them alone. But if you start drawing more and more attention to yourself, then that is where the problem happens. That is where Nintendo's like, okay, well, yeah, now it's time for us to shut this down. Like it is such a baffling thing to do that, like, we have been doing so well for months now. No news from Nintendo. Everything's been quiet. Why would you want to bring their wrath down on you by doing this? It makes zero sense to me. You don't need to do this. It doesn't need to be on the Google Play Store. It doesn't need to happen that way. That's my 2 cents here. I don't know. Yeah, let's move on to the next story. That's all I got. Okay, so question of the week. I'm dying. Well, not really dying. We're all dying, right? Let's start all over here. I had a doctor's appointment this week and found out that I have a thing called e-waste-itis. And the doctor said that it's from me playing with and reviewing so many e-waste handhelds that now I have a certain part of me that is just way too high. And so they prescribed that I have to do a little bit more exercise, a little bit more things because of me sitting at a computer all day doing this stuff, that I need to lower my e-waste-itis because it's just too much. And my diet has been pretty decent, all that sort of thing. So I just need to do some exercise. Now, naturally, I decided that I would exercise while playing video games because otherwise I would never do this. I would just take me, Lord heaven, take me. Because I would rather just play some video games at the time where I'm supposed to be exercising. Because whatever, at this point, I'm 36 years old. I've done everything I need to do. All kidding aside, this week, I jumped on the treadmill, and I have been playing video games while on the treadmill. So Pokemon Blue, Pokemon Silver, Oracle Seasons, I was playing some Danganronpa. Basically, I have a TV in front of me. I have my Odin 2 portal docked, have my GameSir Jesus 7 Pro with me on the treadmill, and I'm just going to town, playing some video games while doing like 7,000 steps or whatever a day. So that has been good. It has been working out for me so far. Minor things that I had to fix and do, but for the most part, it is a good solution. My question of the week for you guys, to bring this all the way back around, is there any of you that are doing workouts while playing video games? What is your setup and how does it look? Are you doing like an exercise bike and using a device while you're doing that? Are you doing some sort of other scenario? Now, the reason I'm asking this is because if I don't do games at the same time as me on the treadmill, then I'm losing out on like an hour, 2 hours a day of playing video games. And I could do that. I could alternate, but why not combine two things to make it one thing? I would get super bored if I was just on a treadmill, like doing nothing else. So anyways, for those of you that are exercising while playing video games, what is your setup? How does it look? Do you have any recommendations or tips for me? So far this week, it's been good, but always open to ideas. AYN shared a few things with us this week. First, we have a look at a picture or pictures of a white Thor. And oh, sweet Jesus, does this look good. I pre-ordered the white Thor because it's going to match my Odin 2 portal, but also because it's my favorite color out of all of them. And yeah, this looks great. Now, I know a lot of people are worried about white. I have had my Odin 2 portal for 9 months. I have basically zero anything of discoloration or anything like that. So I'm not worried, but white Thor looks oh so good. They said they will have pictures of the purple color on Friday, so it'll be after this newscast. But you should check out the Discord if you want to see pictures of purple. I'm sure it'll be shared around too. If you want to come join my Discord, we'll have it there too. Now, I did speak with AYN this week, and I know that my review unit is either shipping out pretty soon or has shipped out. They were just confirming my address, all that sort of thing. So I'm guessing next week I will have it, which is good timing because I have some other things going on after that I'm going to be away for. So yeah, next week should be good. And then we'll talk about all the secret stuff that I get to see the week after that. I don't know. I'm going somewhere special to see something special. So I'm excited about that. Anyways, they also did a video showing off a game demo or games demo. And they did something baffling here where they basically showed DS, but they mirrored the exact same screen on bottom and top. And maybe this is to show off latency or something else. I don't know why they did that, but you can see what it looks like to see the same game on top and bottom if you want. Then they showed off some 3DS as well. And yeah, that looks fantastic. I cannot wait. It looks really, really good. I took a quick look at latency. I don't know if I saw anything. You have to remember this is 60 hertz top and bottom. So there's that already as a negative. 120 hertz would have helped quite a bit. But I took a look at the video. I didn't really see anything that stood out to me, but we'll see when I get it in my hands if there is anything crazy input latency wise, input lag wise. I think 3DS, the emulator, if I remember correctly, has some baked in already. So that could be a scenario, but it doesn't matter. Once I get it in, I'll do some testing. I'm not going to do anything crazy. Input latency is a feel thing for me, not a scientific thing. That's just how I roll. But yeah, we'll see. So whenever I get my review or review unit in, we'll do some videos. I have a lot planned for this. We'll get over and talk about everything to do with the Thor. We finally have some pricing on the upcoming GPD Win 5. This is going to start at $1448 US for the max 385 version. That has 32 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabyte of storage. Then there is the max plus 395 version for $1650 with 32 gigabytes of RAM and 2 terabytes of storage. Lastly, there is the max plus 395 for $2120 US for 64 gigabytes of RAM and 4 terabytes of storage. The 1 terabyte mini SSD is $93, dock is $93, and battery, external battery, is $93. Because as a reminder, this does not have an internal battery. You have to buy the battery if you want to use this besides plugged in. I have absolutely zero to say about this. This is pretty much what I expected pricing-wise, which means that I have zero interest in it. I don't know. I look at the ROG Flow Z13, which, yeah, it is a tablet, laptop, PC, but the screen, the battery included, all of that, same power for same price is where I would go. If you're going to be using it at home anyways, you might as well get the better one. There is no part of me that wants to sit with a device connected to a charger the entire time I'm playing. Despite the fact that I play next to a charger, there is something in my head that's like, I don't want to have it connected the entire time. I don't want a cable to be in my way the entire time I'm playing. All of that. And then if you see the pictures or if you see the video of an actual battery on this thing, it's awful. Given how heavy it is, plus the design of it, all of it is just off. I don't know. This whole thing, I think GPD screwed this one up. There's no other way for me to put it. I've done a lot of reviews on GPD products. I like a lot of them. This one, complete screw up, in my opinion. But let's move on. Ayaneo has released pricing and specs for their upcoming Pocket Air Mini. And it's actually pretty good. They have also hit a price point that previously was only meant for accessories for Ayaneo devices. So Ayaneo is doing some things here where they were in a whole new territory of pricing. Now, spec-wise, again, this is a 4.2-inch 1280 by 960 4x3 60Hz panel, Helio G90T processor, which is somewhere between a T618 processor like the RG405M has, and a T820 processor like the RG406H has. It's right in between there. They show it trading blows with the G99 processor, which not a lot of people are familiar with. This has active cooling, which is interesting. There is 2 gigabytes or 3 gigabytes of RAM only, with 32 gigabytes or 64 gigabyte internal storage options. And again, this is Android, so you're not going to be playing any Android games with that storage. But also 2 gigabytes or 3 gigabytes of RAM is really, really low. The 2S had a 4 gigabyte option 2 years ago, and Magmi has a 4 gigabyte option now. This really shouldn't be, there shouldn't be a 2 gigabyte option. I'm sorry, there really shouldn't be one at all for this. 3 gigabytes, 4 gigabytes is what you should have. There are 3 colors, and I'm going to assume that we don't need to spend another $200 to get one of these colors. I think they are all at the same price. Hall effect sticks and triggers, USB-C charging, headphone jack, micro SD card slot. There is no video out, so keep that in mind. 4,500 milliamp hour battery, 269 grams of weight, which sounds really high. I need to go see what other things weigh, but that sounds really high. Wi-Fi 6, which is interesting, but not really necessary on a device like this. You're not going to be doing any streaming on a 4x3 device, so it's good to have, but it doesn't do anything here. And lastly, Android 11. So I'm not going to say a lot about the power on this because we are mostly guessing. I've never used a G90T. I don't know where it sits, what it can and can't do. I was using some guesses earlier, but if I go look at spec-wise and power of it, if I had to guess, this will do Nintendo 64, Dreamcast, PSP easily. And then GameCube, PS2 is going to be where it's going to be the end, I think. It'll do some, maybe at 1x, with some hacks, all of that fun stuff. This is all guessing on my part, but you're not going to be doing the full catalogs of GC and PS2. I'm pretty sure, based off of this. Does that matter for $70? Not at all. This is already higher than we've had in any other product for under $100 besides the Magmi Air X. So none of that matters. This is really good spec-wise and price-wise. Now, they also shared that they will be doing 4PX shipping, and it'll be $20 on top. So this really is a $90 or $100 starting device for price. Don't get it twisted. You have to include the actual shipping. So yes, $90 or $100 is the actual price of this. But all of that depends on when you buy it, apparently, because Ayaneo, in typical Ayaneo fashion, is doing the exact same pricing thing here for a budget device that they do for all their other devices. Except here, it doesn't really make sense to do this. I don't know why they are doing this. It can be $70, it can be $75, or it can be $90. Or for the 64 gigabyte version, it could be $80, $85, or $100, plus shipping on all of this, depending on if you're doing the early bird or retail or limited time or whatever. Look, I have a lot going on in my day that I don't need to keep track of Ayaneo's pricing for devices. All you need to do, literally, all you need to do is release a price. That's it. If you want to do an early bird for 48 hours, sure. $5 off, $10 off, fine. But then make the next price the final price. Ambernick has been doing this for so long. They have it nailed. Here is the price. Here is an early bird $5, $10 discount. That's it. You don't need to do some math. You don't need to memorize all of this. You don't need to think about where you are, when you're buying it, all of that nonsense. And I'm going on a rant here because I hate this practice, but it is the worst practice. This device is $70. We don't need to be doing $5 increments because you can't figure out what price to sell this at to make money. Just put it at the price it needs to be. If this was just $90, nobody would have batted an eye. If you would have said, hey, $90 for 3GB or 4GB version, nobody would have cared because it is still priced properly. That's all you need to do. But adding this extra level of nonsense of, if you buy it on this day, it's $5 cheaper. If you buy it on this day, it's $5 cheaper. Oh, it's another $10 cheaper if you, just screw off with that. Just put a price and that is it. I don't want to think about all of this. Anyways, mid-October is when you can buy this or pre-order this. Apparently not on Indiegogo, which is a good thing, but we'll find out more as we get sooner to that date. Now, just quickly, Ayaneo also announced another device because why let one device breathe when you can announce another device and then smother all of your devices with more announcements? It is the Ayaneo Pocket S Mini, which actually looks pretty cool. Looks nice. Sleek design, all of that fun stuff. But that's all we know. We just know it looks like a smaller Pocket S. And that's it. So we'll have to wait for specs. We'll have to wait for pricing. We'll have to wait for all of that whenever they deem to want to announce all of that. In which case, I am saying, why even tell us this at all? Because all you did was take sales that would have gone to the Pocket Air Mini. Now people are going to say, I'm going to wait for this Pocket S Mini. It's such a baffling decision. But anyways, that's what they're doing. Friendly reminder that our game of the month is The Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Seasons. Our ROM hack of the month is Castlevania, Aria of Sorrow, Reprise. And our game of the season is Suikoden 2. If you want to play these games with like-minded people that play games, come join the Discord. We're playing them. Now, this week has been a bit of a slower week for me, gaming-wise. I did finish up Pokemon Blue for the millionth time. There was a new Retro Achievements set for Pokemon Blue, and so I had to go and beat it, and so I did. I was planning on 100%ing it, and then I got bored halfway through, and I'm like, I'm just going to finish the game and then move on. And then I moved on to Pokemon Silver, and I'm doing the same thing there, but I will beat Pokemon Silver pretty soon. These are my favorite Pokemon games. I love playing them. And then I went and tried Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories. I had this game as a kid, or still have it, played it, but me as a kid must have been a genius of some sort because I do not remember any of this. I don't remember any of the fusions in this game. This game is also very, very difficult. So I got to Weevil. I think his name is Weevil. And then I dipped out. I'm like, I can't. This game's too hard for me. I'm going to leave for now. Maybe I'll come back one day when I remember what fusions are and all of that. But I at least got to Weevil, and then I was like, all right, that's enough here. We'll move on. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories, it's all right. It's just hard. Otherwise, Oracle of Seasons, I've been playing. It's all right. I don't know. This is going to be blasphemy to say, but 3D Zelda is where I'm at. 2D Zelda doesn't do much for me. I've played them all. I've beaten most of them. 2D Zelda doesn't do a lot for me, but 3D Zelda is my jam. So yeah, Oracle of Seasons is all right. I'm playing through it. But the game we have to talk about this week, if there was any game that you need to listen to me talk about, is Digimon Time Stranger. What is Digimon Story Time Stranger? Well, I forget the actual thing was. It doesn't matter. Digimon Time Stranger. You know what I'm talking about. It's a new Digimon game that just came out, or it's coming out. I played the demo of this, and if I had to make a choice between Pokemon this year and Digimon this year, if I only had $80 or whatever it is, it would be Digimon, 100%, 10 out of 10, don't at me. They have English voice acting with dubbing, where they actually do the moves. So they are saying the moves like the anime does. So great. The graphics, awesome. The Pokemon or the Digimon following you around, everything, the atmosphere, all of it. I have played the Cyber Sleuth games, did not beat them, but I played quite a bit of them. They took that formula and just improved everything about it. They added the voice acting, the dubbing, all of that. They improved the graphics, they improved the gameplay to the point where this needs to be on every person's radar. If you like Pokemon at all, go try this demo. It is 3 hours or so, and the save data carries over. I was always going to buy this game, but as soon as I played the demo, it was like, it ratcheted up to top of my list for games that I'm excited for. So yeah, they nailed it here. I'm super excited for this. Digimon Time Stranger, you need to play it. Otherwise, Trails in the Sky comes out today, Friday, and I'll be playing that all weekend and until I finish it, because I played the demo, finished the demo, and yeah, Trails in the Sky, I'm jumping in. This is my jump in point for the Trails series. I've tried many times to play the originals and I could not do it, but this game I actually like. So I'm jumping in. Wish me some luck. There's like 10 games in this series. I'm screwed. Newscast Q&A time. As always, send in your questions. Newscast@joeysretrohandhelds.com is the email address, or there's a Discord channel. You can send it in through there. There are 2 questions this week. Let's get into the first one, which is important for anybody buying an AYN Odin 3 or Snapdragon 8 Elite device. This question comes in from Jose, and he says, "You're the only reviewer that would look into this or express concerns about this." Thank you. "The Snapdragon 8 Elite doesn't work well with OpenGL, specifically for Nintendo 64 emulation on Mupen cores for RetroArch. You only get a black screen with audio. The only fix seems to be going into dev mode and enabling experimental angle. It doesn't always work. This chip is going into devices like the Odin 3. Do you know if there will be any solutions or fixes in the works?" So, I completely forgot about this. I did a video on my Galaxy Fold 7. In that video, I went over this. The Nintendo 64 Mupen 64 Plus Next core on the Snapdragon 8 Elite does not work. OpenGL or Vulkan. You can try changing it, it still won't work. I have seen other examples of other cores having issues with OpenGL as well with the Snapdragon 8 Elite. Now, I did some digging because of this question, and I wanted to see if RetroArch was aware of it, or at least the libretro core. And I found that there is a GitHub post or a GitHub issue tracking this issue, and no fix as of yet is the end point here. They are doing some fixes and tests. There is a popular GitHub developer on there that's working with them, but still no fix. So long story short here, RetroArch or the Mupen 64 Plus Next core developer is aware at least, but there is no fix yet. What this means is for anybody buying an Odin 3, you will not be able to, as of right now, play Nintendo 64 using RetroArch. You will have to use M64 plus FZ. Now, M64 plus FZ is better in every way, so you should be using it. However, it doesn't have retro achievements, which is why you would use the Mupen 64 Plus Next core in RetroArch. So yeah, I need to do some more digging on this. I feel like there are other emulators that have problems and cores, but I'm going to wait for my Odin 3 to arrive to do all of that. As of right now, the one that I do know of is this Nintendo 64 core. So thank you for the comment. Thank you for the reminder of this. Hopefully we can get some eyes on it, and maybe RetroArch or the libretro core developer could fix it in time for the Odin 3 release. Otherwise, it is something I'll bring up in my review and whenever I'm talking about the Odin 3. Now that I completely remember what the issue was, because I completely forgot about it, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together with the Fold 7 and the Odin 3. So thank you. This next question comes in from Xcross. "Joey, what does CH3 stand for in the beginning of your intro or on your channel?" I have talked about this many, many times, but over different comments and things like that. CH3 stands for having to set your Super Nintendo. I think NES had it too, but I had a Super Nintendo, to channel 3 for you to get picture, for it to work. There's a little a little switch on the back. It says channel 3, channel 4. I had to put on channel 3, or that's what I wanted to do, put on channel 3, and then you could play your Super Nintendo on the TV. That's what you had to do. You had to set your TV to channel 3, put the Super Nintendo channel 3, then you could play your games. So the idea was, in my intro, was you tune into channel 3 to watch Joey's Retro Handhelds. It's watch retro stuff. So it tied it all in. It is a little confusing because if you think about it a little bit too much, if you look at my logo, it is a TV and a controller. It has nothing to do with retro handhelds, but don't tell anybody about that. I'm not changing it at this point, but don't tell anybody. Anyways, that's what channel 3 stands for. So hopefully that helps you. That is everything this week. So make sure that you like and sub to help the newscast grow. You can come join me on the Discord to play some games, as well as talk about whatever you want. Support me through YouTube membership if you like my stuff. And appreciate all for watching, and that's all for me, Swastika, Ontario, and not for the reasons you're thinking of. I will leave a pinned comment about Swastika, Ontario, because their history is actually really interesting, and the swastika part doesn't mean what you're thinking, so check that out. Have a good one.